Continuing on with our positional rankings, today we're going to be looking at one of the most talented positions in baseball today, and that is third base. Lots of really talented third basemen across the league, so this was a tough one. But anyways, let's get right into the rankings. Getting things started off at number 10, I have Ke'Bryan Hayes of the Pittsburgh Pirates. Last year, in 136 games, Hayes hit .244 to go along with 7 home runs, 41 runs driven in, 20 stolen bases, a .659 OPS, and a 4.3 WAR. And with those offensive numbers, I'm sure you're questioning why he's even on the list. Well, he is unbelievable defensively at the hot corner. Last year, he had 24 defensive runs saved, which led all of baseball. If you get a chance to watch some Pirates games in 2023, I highly recommend you keep an eye out for Hayes over at third base. It is a thing of beauty. And even with the not so great offensive numbers, I still believe in Hayes. He's still pretty young and has some potential to be a pretty good offensive player as well. I think he deserves a lot of credit for what he did last year, and I have him coming in at number 10. Moving on, at number 9, I have Eugenio Suarez of the Seattle Mariners. Suarez, over the past 5 years, has quietly been one of the best power hitters in baseball. In fact, since 2018, he's second in all of baseball in terms of home runs with 160, only 4 behind Aaron Judge. And of course, last year he provided plenty of power, as in 150 games he hit .236 to go along with 31 home runs, 87 runs driven in, a .791 OPS, and a 3.9 WAR. He's just so consistent when it comes to power. If this guy's healthy and on the field, he's going to give you 30 home runs. Now, the one flaw in his game is his defense. He's never been great over at the hot corner. So that's why he's not too high up on the list, but I still had to give him recognition, put him in at number 9 because he's just so good when it comes to power. Getting on to number 8, I have Matt Chapman of the Toronto Blue Jays. Chapman is pretty similar to Eugenio Suarez in the sense that he has a lot of power, he just doesn't have quite as much, but he is much better defensively. Last year in 155 games, Chapman hit .229 to go along with 27 home runs, 76 runs driven in, a .757 OPS, and a 3.5 WAR. And like I just said, he is really good defensively. He has 3 career gold gloves and has also won 2 platinum gloves. Towards the end of the season last year, Chapman started to look a lot more comfortable in Toronto, and considering he's still in his prime, I would not be surprised to see him have a big breakout year next season. Chapman gives you exactly what you want in a third baseman, and that is solid pop to go along with great defense. Getting on to number 7, I have Bobby Witt Jr. of the Kansas City Royals. I know at this point this may be a bit high for him, but I'm all in. Yes, he was probably all around the worst defender in the league last season, but he has 40-40 potential. I mean, listen to these numbers he put up last year as a 22-year-old. In 150 games, he hit .254 to go along with 20 home runs, 80 runs driven in, 30 stolen bases, a .722 OPS, and a .8 WAR. 20 home runs and 30 stolen bases as a 22-year-old rookie is just ridiculous. Now, I did mention he struggled mightily defensively last season as he had negative 22 defensive runs saved. So yes, the defense is awful right now, but he's 22 years old, like I said. He has plenty of time to fix things defensively, and he's only going to get better offensively. I know I'll probably get a lot of question marks surrounding this ranking, but I am all in on Bobby Witt Jr. At number 6, I have Rafael Devers of the Boston Red Sox. Devers had a down season last year, but when he's hot, he's up there with the best of them. Last year in 141 games, Devers hit .295 to go along with 27 home runs, 88 runs driven in, an .879 OPS, and a 4.4 WAR. If he can get back to the 38 home run, 113 RBI type production he put up in 2021, look out. Now, I have to put him a little bit lower than his offensive numbers might suggest here because he's never been a great defender. Last year, he had negative 6 defensive runs saved, and it really just seems like at this point he's never going to be great defensively. But like I said, when this guy's swinging a hot bat, he's probably the best hitter in baseball. Devers is a great third baseman, and I have him coming in at number 6. Getting on to number 5, I have Alex Bregman of the Houston Astros. I really wanted to put Bregman higher on the list, but third base is just so talented. Last year, Bregman bounced back and had a solid year, as in 155 games he hit .259 to go along with 23 home runs, 93 runs driven in, an .820 OPS, and a 4.5 WAR. And he really turned it up in the second half. He was probably a top 5 hitter in baseball in that span. Now, in terms of defense, he's not that good. He's never been great, but he's also not bad. But offensively, he is so disciplined. He's like a Juan Soto type in the sense that he walks more than he strikes out. And with the way Bregman finished out 2022, I have lots of optimism for 2023. In fact, in his last real full season, which was in 2019, he hit 41 home runs and finished second in the AL MVP voting. So talent-wise, this guy is up there with the best of them, and I have him coming in at number 5. Getting on to number 4, I have Austin Riley of the Atlanta Braves. Ever since getting called up a few years back, Riley has seemingly gotten better and better. Last year, he had the best season of his career, as in 159 games he hit .273 to go along with 38 home runs, 93 runs driven in, an .878 OPS, and a 6.5 WAR. And he also has a pretty solid glove over at third base, as last year he had 6 defensive runs saved. And with 38 home runs last season, that makes it consecutive seasons in which Riley has hit 30 plus home runs, and I would not be surprised at all to see him hit 40 plus next year. I think Riley's going to continue to get better just like he has so far up to this point in his career, and I have him coming in at number 4. At number 3, I have Jose Ramirez of the Cleveland Guardians. It pains me to put him this low, but third base is just so good. Ramirez, year in and year out, puts up some of the best offensive numbers in baseball. Last year, in 157 games, he hit .280 to go along with 29 home runs, 126 runs driven in, 20 stolen bases, an .869 OPS, and a 6.0 WAR. Defensively, he's never been too great, but he has taken some pretty big strides, as last year he had 2 defensive runs saved. So he's gone from a below average defender to an above average defender, and he deserves a lot of credit for the work he's put in over the years. Ramirez is definitely one of the most underrated players in the game today. He is a bona fide superstar, and the fact that he has not won an MVP up to this point is just criminal. Ramirez is a top 10 player in baseball today, and I have him coming in at number 3. Getting on to number 2, I have Manny Machado of the San Diego Padres. Machado is one of the best all-around players in the game today. Last year, he played in 150 games where he hit .298 to go along with 32 home runs, 102 runs driven in, 9 stolen bases, an .898 OPS, and a 6.8 WAR. Now, in terms of defense, last year wasn't his best, as he had -3 defensive runs saved, but all in all, he's been a great defender throughout his career, as he has 2 gold gloves. He's also a 6-time All-Star, so he's just been consistently great ever since getting called up at a very young age. He was clearly the best player on a Padre team last year that nearly made the World Series. And with the return of Fernando Tatis Jr., I think teams are going to have to pitch to Machado a lot more, and I think he's going to be even more dangerous. Machado is the definition of a superstar third baseman, and I have him coming in at number 2. And finally, at number 1, I have Nolan Arenado of the St. Louis Cardinals. As a Rockies fan, maybe I'm a bit biased with this one, but I just couldn't go anywhere else. Last year, in 148 games, Arenado hit .293 to go along with 30 home runs, 103 runs driven in, an .891 OPS, and a 7.9 WAR. He also continued to display Gold Glove defense, as last year he had 19 defensive runs saved. And speaking of defense, he's probably the best of this generation. He's a 10-time Gold Glove Award winner and has also won 6 straight Platinum Gloves. When healthy, he's going to give you 30 home runs and 100 plus RBIs to go along with Gold Glove defense. This guy is just consistently great. He's on his way to the Hall of Fame, and I have him as today's best third baseman. Alright, so that's going to wrap today's video up. Let me know what you guys think down below. And as always, I want to thank you guys again so much for watching and continuing to support, and I'll see you next time.